Well, it's that time of year again, and it's time for the usual obligatory New Year's video. I just kind of wanted to reflect on some of the achievements that I've made with this channel in the year 2024, which was an interesting year for myself personally, professionally, and hobbily, like with my hobbies and stuff. So I'll start with one of the first big achievements of this year, and it was definitely more recent, which was the fact that I was able to get this channel into the YouTube Partner Program. So now we are like fully monetized and everything, which opens up so many doors to getting this hobby, this community, this channel closer to something that I can focus on full time and allow it to support and sustain me just in the things that I create. And to me, that's the ultimate goal for me, to be able to pursue this thing full time and have it support me in my endeavors and those around me. That's the ultimate goal in my mind. Not that it's the main goal or the only goal for this channel in the first place, because obviously this is a creative outlet for myself, a way to write music, play guitar, show my own personal growth and progress through writing and recording music and experimenting with different musical things. But the added bonus of having it support you is something that not a lot of people are able to achieve, and I'm one step closer to doing so, which in itself is a very validating thing. And I know I talked about this when I did make a video about getting into the YouTube Partner Program, but it's just a really validating is probably the best word, and that's the one I've used the most. It justifies the time and blood, sweat, and tears that I've put into my creative endeavors with this channel, and it shows. And I personally am someone who is very hard on myself, and I don't give myself enough credit for things, and I tend to be extremely self-critical. And I think that's a common personality trait for a lot of serious creatives. And it's unfortunate, right? That's kind of the dark side of having a creative focused brain. And being self-critical is not always a healthy thing. I will not be the first person to say that. But it's a very validating feeling because, you know, I don't have the hugest support system in the world. And, you know, when you get older, you and your friends and the people that you grew up with kind of go your different ways and stuff, and you start to realize, you know, your friend group or your circle of support is not as abundant as it might have been before, and you'll usually have your select few people that are your main support system, and it doesn't reach much further beyond that. So having you guys around and having the little bit of success that there is with this channel is something that motivates me to continue doing it, and it makes me feel good about myself in the sense that I'm actually doing something that people care about. Okay, now that we got through that very introspective achievement, the next big thing, and I do view it as a pretty big thing, was that I created a separate, second channel. This is not something that I made as a huge announcement necessarily, and I don't even believe I've linked directly to it or anything, just because I wanted to get natural growth and traction with the separate niche that it is. And I have not really given too much away of what it is, and I still don't know if I'm going to directly link to it or say what the second channel is or anything just yet, because I don't want to wrongly influence the data that I'm gathering with it on the audience that I'm reaching with that type of content. And for those that didn't hear about it, whenever I said the small thing that I ever did about it, I created a separate channel focused on filmmaking and camera gear, cinematography, stuff like that, because I do have two passions when it comes to creativity. It's filmmaking and music, right? I've got both of those, and although I can kind of marry the two with this channel in some regards, with making music videos and stuff like that, I can't fully scratch the filmmaking itch with this channel directly without venturing outside the musical niche that this channel is in. So I created the separate filmmaking channel to focus content based around that. And honestly, I've made some really interesting achievements with that channel alone that I didn't get with this channel specifically. I had some interesting things occur with that other channel. So one of the few things was that I had an initial growth spurt with that channel that I didn't have with this one. And that was an interesting thing to go through, and it's kind of slowed a little bit more, but I've also gained a lot more experience and knowledge through this channel that I applied to the other channel, which probably influenced that quite a lot. Another thing was that I had companies reaching out to work with me a lot sooner with that channel than I did with this one. And I'm not sure exactly why that worked. Maybe the filmmaking, camera gear, photography, cinematography niche is a lot more abundant with companies wanting to work with creators. But I had some interesting companies contact me to do some work with, and I got some cool products from companies and some shout outs from really big companies and stuff, and it was really cool. And more recently, one of the biggest companies that I've ever worked with was Sony. And earlier this year over the summer, I had created this interesting vertical style short form video around one of my Sony zoom lenses, and it was themed kind of like a horror thriller trailer revealing a monster type thing with a bit of a inappropriate joke as an undertone. And Sony really liked it back then, and they asked if they could share it on their accounts. And I said sure. Normally, with this channel being so much bigger, if a company asked me to do that, I would ask for some form of licensing fee or something in return, but that other channel, I was just trying to get exposure, so I said, yeah, go ahead, use it. And recently, a couple weeks ago, I got a message on TikTok with that account from Sony saying, hey, we really liked the video that you shared with us and that we shared on our accounts earlier this year, and our audience loved it too, so in return, we'd like to send you a gift. And I got real excited. I probably got overly excited, hoping for, an FX30 or some of the XM5 really expensive headphones or something. But no, they sent me a new pair of wireless earbuds that they released. And again, listen, I'm not going to complain about free stuff, and especially getting my foot in the door with Sony, huge thing. I'll take it. It could open the door to other things down the road. So that was a really cool experience with a much smaller account across the board with that filmmaking account. So it's been a really interesting year. And yes, some of my focus on this channel has been taken away while I was doing stuff for that one. But I feel a lot happier with having both channels, that I can scratch both itches when I need to. If I want to make something more filmmaking focused, I can go post something with that account, and then all of my other musical endeavors and stuff just get dumped onto this account, and that makes my brain really happy in a weird way. So yeah, I'm not going to ramble too much about that one. I'll still try to figure out what I want to do in terms of information provided here about that channel. I guess if enough of you want to know and that's something you're interested in, not just because it's me, but like you're actually interested in camera gear and filmmaking and stuff and what I have to say about it, if enough of you want that, maybe I'll provide you the information on how to find that account. But for now, I'll keep it a secret so I can continue to grow it within its own niche. But yeah, that's been an interesting aspect of the year. Now, a third huge thing that happened this last year of 2024 was more of a personal thing that I've not really talked about on my social media platforms or anything, at least on like Sinister Bunny and my other one. Personal accounts, yes, I've talked about, but you know, my wife and I had our wedding back in October. That was a huge thing, you know, long time planning, mostly on her end, with her kind of taking over the whole planning of that. And, you know, it was a crazy, like, I never viewed myself as that kind of person to, you know, get married and all that. My brain was always focused for a long time on, like, my professional, where I'm going to go in my career and stuff, and what I wanted to do with music and whatnot. And this woman just kind of stumbled into my life early on in high school. And, you know, we've been just cosmically linked ever since. You know, we've been together for quite a long time now, like over a decade at this point. And, you know, it was about time for the whole marriage thing to happen regardless. But we were high school sweethearts, and, you know, we've been stuck at the hip ever since. And we've gone through trials and tribulations together, happy times, sad times, ups and downs, college, moving all over the state. You know, we've done everything together. We've been each other's support systems. We've been each other's best friends. We've been each other's enemies at the same time. And, you know, for those of you that are in a serious relationship, then you probably know what I'm saying. But, you know, it was a really exciting thing to have happen because we were finally able to celebrate us in a way that we don't normally do, because we're both, as I said earlier, I'm very self-critical. She is as well. We don't give ourselves enough credit. She's very, very similar to herself in the sense of how I am to myself. So we don't boast our relationship too much. We don't constantly post about our relationship like some people do. And that's just because we're more private people. So this was kind of a huge way to celebrate us and our relationship and how far we've come, and get to celebrate that with people that we love and people that support us, and in a really cool fashion, way that was very us. And that was like the biggest highlight of 2024. Like, that was something we'd been planning for a long time, and when it finally happened, it was beautiful. She was beautiful. The wedding was beautiful. It was an amazing day to have as a memory. And thankfully, we had a good photographer take photos. We got a lot of great photos. We had a few issues with the venue and some questionable illnesses that took place pretty soon after the wedding that we're thinking came from food and stuff. And we got that all worked out at a certain point. And it was a very interesting experience to go through, to say the least. And luckily, I want to only focus on the good stuff. It was a really amazing day. We got to do it the way we wanted to do it mostly. And if you get the chance, if you're in a relationship, a serious relationship, do it the way you want to do it. If you're getting married, do it the way you want to do it. Don't fall to pressures of what everybody else expects. Do it the way you want to do it. And that's how we did it. You know, we did things very us. It was not your typical traditional wedding whatsoever. So that's my advice to you, whoever you might be in a relationship. Do it the way you want. Don't let even your parents, don't let your family, don't let your friends pressure you into doing it a certain way. Do it the way that you want to do it. It'll make the day and the experience that much more special. And it's something that you will never forget. I know we will never forget it. We've got a book with all of our photos and everything. It's something we can look back on and tell future generations, our kids, our friends' kids, grandkids, whatever, about how cool we were to do it the way we wanted, and said fuck everybody else and kind of did it our own way. So yeah, that was a really, really awesome highlight of this last year. So now I kind of want to go into probably my goals for this upcoming year, right? That's something that I should probably talk about in this video. What I want to achieve in 2025, right? I don't know if I want to set specific goals that are going to become like a new habit, because people tend to just abandon those New Year's resolutions within like a month. So what I hope to achieve is to create a lot more and a lot more consistently. I've been more consistent lately because now that I'm monetized, I want to completely focus on just keeping that momentum going. But I want to up the ante a little bit. I want to up the production quality. I have been working on my mixing skills to give better mixes of covers and original music to you guys, and I'm working on all aspects of my creative process to improve it as much as I possibly can. One of the big things that I hope to do this year is to acquire a new camera if I possibly can, somehow. I would love to be able to get the FX30 and start working with that. That's kind of my dream camera at the moment. I would love to get a few more cine lenses from Sirui, and however you pronounce it, I never get it right. I hear it 30 million ways, but Sirui, that company. I've got one of their cinema lenses, really great. I'd love the whole line. I'd love other cinema lenses to go with an FX30. And otherwise, I've got all the other equipment that I would probably ever want. And I would love to start using that to do more freelancer work. I could do that now. I could do freelancer work now with my A6400. But I kind of feel like I need that step up for the FX30 to have that more professional cinema level quality and workflow. But I know that's something that stops a lot of people from continuing, where they say, oh, I need this piece of gear to be able to do that. And it just is an excuse not to throw yourself into something. I know that. But that's part of one of the things I want to do more this year, is to really get myself out there and offer my services to local businesses and individuals, possibly whoever needs photos, videos, editing, stuff like that, and help that to kind of supplement my creative endeavors and get the fuck out of my day job. So that's a huge one for me. And, you know, beyond the typical, like, oh, I want to improve myself, I want to get in better shape and lose weight and all that, which I do, I always do. I really want to focus on my mental health, which is a very difficult thing as a man. And, you know, I'm not one to shy away from saying I've suffered from mental health issues like depression. I've got anxiety pretty bad with a lot of things, and I do need to find a new therapist. I was seeing one last year for a bit, and things got weird with my health insurance, and things just kind of faltered out, and I've gotten kind of lazy about it for a lot of reasons, but I want to really focus on my mental health to get myself better for myself and for my wife, and just to be an overall healthier person, because I think, you know, if I got physically in better shape, that'd be great, but it's hard to drive a nice Lamborghini if the engine is shit, right? So I would love to fix up the engine that is my brain, to really help my car of my body run better. And that's a huge thing that I want to improve on this year. So I'm not setting any specific goals necessarily for a lot of things. I want to put out more content, more music, more covers, more originals. I want to upgrade my gear if I possibly can, and I want to work on myself in my mental health as much as I possibly can. And that's all I'm going to say for the time being, because I don't want to set too many strict resolutions just to fail and abandon them in a month. So those are what I hope to achieve in this year, and I hope that you do something very similar. I hope this is a fresh start for a lot of you. It is for me. And yeah, stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let anybody get you down. The typical blah, blah stuff. So I'm going to stop talking your ear off if you haven't abandoned this video already. And hope that you stick around for the rest of the content for this new year. Thank you guys always for sticking around. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay metal, my friends.